Hello. I hope that you're feeling reasonably good today. It's a struggle, isn't it, really, inwardly, trying to remain calm and trying not to ignore the news exactly. We mustn't do that, but to try and accept what we hear, and particularly, the depressing aspects of this isolation literally the whole world is in. And, the whole world, of course, is experienced within us as individuals. And we have an individual experience of this world. And like I'm always fond of saying, we don't come here ourselves willingly, and we don't come here and arrive here laughing, smiling, or otherwise looking jolly. We arrive here after a great struggle and pain and crying. Well, why is that, we wonder, actually? The sort of existential part of ourselves, the spirit part of ourselves. We have to accept that we are spiritual beings here and now in this physical body. And it's a spiritualist friend, Peter Martin, who suggested that why don't we say something like, why don't people say something like returned home instead of just saying died and they've departed. And I suppose if people were to change their language and say returned home, or as was used to be the case before, of course, all this new broadcasting media, gone to heaven. And of course, gone to heaven is much closer to the truth and much nearer to Peter Martin's idea of saying returned home or gone home, because gone to heaven actually lets us know that we have gone on to a finer existence. But of course, it doesn't go down too well in today's materialistic world, and where the survival of the spirit after the physical transition we call death isn't universally accepted by any means. But us spiritualists are trying to push that message home as much as we can, because it actually is cheerful. It's cheering. In the midst of life, we are in death. And if we only could explain that in the right terms, it would be less frightening, less upsetting, less horrifying, and altogether less traumatizing. And in this time that we are living through at the moment, there are so many who are, as Peter would have it, returning home, going to heaven, as we used to say, and as we would say, moving on to the next part of their life in spirit. But you see, we know as spiritualists that this is the truth. It would help greatly, I think, if in fact reporting those transitions, it was called a physical transition, that the powers that be, who inadvertently or behind the scenes control how we view huge events in our life, like the passing from this life to the next, and putting labels on that, would be so much better if we could actually say past to spirit. So when all those vast figures come out every day about people who have taken their transition because of this awful virus that we're all trying to avoid, or those who have had it recover from, etc., It would be so much better if they said so many have passed to spirit, and it would have a whole different feeling about that. Now, the other thing is this, I mean, nobody wants to go before their time as they see it, and you know, all of us individuals want to come through this reasonably unscathed. I don't think that the world will ever be the same again after this, actually, because although the world's population have suffered pandemics in the past, like the bubonic plague, for instance, the Spanish flu of more recent history, Asian and Hong Kong flu of even more recent history, tuberculosis, malaria, all those things that have taken a toll, huge toll on human beings. It's never been as instantly obtainable in terms of statistics and understanding of what's going on around the world. We've never had that facility before. And so it's even more horrifying to turn on the news where instead of, you know, after the weather forecast, etc., you get tales of thousands of people who have actually taken their transition to the next world as a result of contracting this illness. So how do we come to that conclusion that this is actually a stage of our life? We are delivered here, we live our life as best we can, all the ups and downs and so on and so forth, and then we go on to another life, a next life, in which we are able to progress, to participate, and we can even, as individuals, then communicate back to this life, to people still living this life, through the offices of mediumship. Now, we don't at all have to use the services of an outside medium if we can develop our own potential to be mediums ourselves for that purpose. And there is nothing actually spooky about it. That's another myth that's been woven around spiritualism. We're not mysterious and spooky. We are actually rational, and we have had many a scientist and rational thinker in our number ever since it first began in 1848. And I won't bore you with a whole list of people, but you know, we're looking at men of science, women of science, and of letters, and nobody's fools, and they have embraced our knowledge and understanding. Now, at this time when everybody is so stressed and so upset and worried by all this, I thought, what better than to perhaps offer an opportunity for individual people to experience that contact with that unseen world that to which we all depart eventually, sooner or later. And I thought perhaps a short meditation would be in order. You would like a short meditation, and where we will meet up with an individual or some people who have already gone to the other side of life, those who have departed from here and gone on to live on in that spirit dimension that some would call heaven, the spirit realms, the realms of light. And I thought it would be nice if we undertook a meditation together. Oh, I see, sorry, I haven't been looking, and I see there are comments. Alison, hi. So I welcome, of course, comments, but at the moment now we're going to take a short meditation, and this is by way of making you feel better. And if you can, you only need a few minutes of quiet where if you would care to join me on this, I will guide you through a spiritualist meditation, and hope that it will help you to actually understand some of our principles and make you feel better. That's the main thing, of course, at this time. So do come along with me as I guide you through this meditation. And it's given to me by my spirit helpers. So we'll go along with them and see what we shall experience. And if you can find somewhere where you won't be disturbed, and if you are on your own at this time, this is a bonus about being on your own, that you can actually choose to do this without interruption. So I'll just say, first of all, we shall say to those who hear us, we do everything only in the light, for good, and with love. And we ask all our friends and helpers who are in the world of spirit to be near to us at this time, look after us. Thank you. Now, close your eyes. Nothing will jump out at you. And imagine, if you will, in front of you, a golden door. Imagine this door. It's wonderful. Just imagine that. And in your mind's eye, when you have imagined the golden door, imagine yourself walking towards it, opening it and walking through. When you walk out onto the other side, you're in a beautiful leafy woodland. Oh, it's lovely. There's sunlight dappling through the leaves. It's wonderful. It's like a beautiful woodland scene around you. And you're in a sort of clearing. And you can see actually there's a sort of wooden bench a little way away. So obviously that's been prepared for people to rest. And walk towards that wooden bench. Walk towards it. And you see, when you reach there, sit yourself down on that lovely wooden bench with beautiful, the sunlight dappling through the leaves, the trees around you. It's just gorgeous. And ask, if you will, for somebody to come along and see you. Somebody who you love. Somebody who has gone on to that next world that you are now being given just a glimpse. So they will come to see you on that bench, and just sit there for a little while. I'll be quiet for a little while to enable you to connect with that person. Think of a loved one. You might even be blessed with a visit from an angel. As you sit there quietly, restfully, not a care in the world. Now it's time to say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye to whoever it is that has come to see you. To get up now from the bench. Still beautiful, the trees are around you. Walk back to the open door. The golden door is open. Step back through that. to your seat where you started from. The door is closed. Now, feel the weight of your body again. Wiggle your fingers and toes if you can. Get the circulation going. And then open your eyes. There. So, I hope that you enjoyed that visit. It's a kind of halfway place, I guess you'd call it. So you don't have to be dead to actually visit there. But the people who come to see you when you are there have already taken that physical transition that we call dead. Well, it's dead to this life and alive to the next. There you are. So I hope that that has helped. What I would mention is that you can do that meditation again. You can run this video thing up to that point and just do the meditation, and it's not dangerous or anything, and nothing nasty will get you. But you must remember to make that affirmation that everything you do is only done for good, only in the light, only with love, and then you will have all the protection that you need to be able to undertake such a meditation there. So I hope that you had a good experience. And people are being nice and saying nice things to me, which I thank you for, guys. Thank you very much. It makes it worthwhile, doesn't it? Because like there's little me, and I worry. I think, oh, why do people want to see this old dear sort of sitting there preaching at them all the time? But it's what I do, and we can't be too self-conscious, can we? And start worrying about what we look like, because that leads to drastic measures being taken sometimes by some poor people who cut themselves up. Well, they go and pay lots of money to be cut up and made to look how they perceive it to be better than they were before. But those of us who do not subscribe to that concept wish that they had left themselves alone and just be themselves and be more interested in the spirit within themselves and how they're perceived by their friends as people and individuals, rather than as oil paintings. Nobody really wants to be an oil painting, do they? Perhaps they do. Dorian Gray did, of course, in Oscar Wilde's wonderful novel about somebody who was totally self-obsessed with their youth and youthful appearance. And I do try and resist the opportunity myself to put pictures of myself young and sprightly and all those things. But there you are. We all hope to get old, which brings me back, of course, to the fact that everybody's worried at the moment about their longevity on this planet, and including myself. And we all want to do things down here, but at least I hope that I've given you some indication of the situation that exists for us in the future, and has already happened for those that we meet who are already in spirit and who seem extremely happy with their lot there. So Fiona, yes, I do agree with you, and it's so nice that so many people are able to be together in this, because loneliness is really horrible, and you don't actually have to be alone to be lonely, because many of us have experienced that sense of loneliness when we're in a big crowd, and sometimes when you're in a big crowd it's even worse. Because if you feel different, or you have, health issues, very difficult sometimes not to feel alone when you are in a crowd of people. But I hope that by having that understanding that we have got loved ones, people who love us in the world of spirit who come close to us, particularly at times of upset. You know, I always say to people, you know, God is nearest to you when you are in your darkest and most miserable place. And you see, you will be lifted up. You will get that upliftment. You will move on from that. And you can be sure of that, because you are never on your own. Never, never left on your own. You know, some do say that we are appointed a guardian angel before we are born here. And I have no reason to dispute that. Because it does seem to be that all of us are blessed with the presence of somebody from spirit who looks after us. I mean, there are times, if you look back on your life, when you would have surely been injured or damaged or anything dreadful, but somehow or other you've swerved that. Well, I say that that's your guardian angel working overtime to help you. But if you have any questions and so on for me, do ask. Fiona, sorry, I thought the chicken was agreeing. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, I see. Today I had a vision of a cliff face of an eagle that showed me my nana in 3. Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Eagles, of course, have always been considered very spiritual birds, beings, and the face of an eagle. Wow, that's so amazing. A lot of people, you know, have animal guides. Now, you know, what you have to do is cast aside your skepticism. I can hear some people from here saying, no, you know, all creatures have a role in this life, and the most simple souls are those of the animal kingdom, and there is no malice. They do not go to war against each other with vast armies. They do not wholesale murder and pillage. They may carnivorous animals kill for food, and of course there are some rogue animals that kill for fun, but they're very, very few and far between, unlike human beings. So what we have to do is cast aside our skepticism about the animal world and accept that there may well be the spirit of an eagle that is able to show somebody a loved one in spirit there. Well, you know, some of the indigenous peoples, various continents on our planet, have from time began had animal guides, and that's something to ponder there. So Fiona says, when I was 23, I asked spirit to go away due to fear. Now 24, I want it back. Oh yes, I spent my childhood mostly underneath blankets, hoping that the people that were in my bedroom would go away and leave me alone. Except that some of them were children who I liked. I picked and chose who I wanted to you know, have communication with, even then. And I had some wonderful you know, time traveling trips with them. But generally, I blocked it all out. And apart from that, of course, being brought up as a Jewish girl in a Jewish family, I was very conversant with all the prohibitions of Deuteronomy and Leviticus, and particularly the ones that said that no daughter of Israel should be a medium or talk to spirits or anything like that. It was very, very difficult. But anyway, so So the thing is, clear blockages, well, people don't have blockages, you know. Blockages are for sort of like our physical self. There are spiritual blockages are maybe less to do with our spirit as to do with our physical emotional circumstances and our physical beings. All you need to do really is to let go of fear. Easier said than done, I know. As somebody who's been, I was born frightened. Most of us are, you know, that hence the crying and the wailing when we come out. Oh no, not there. Oh no, I want to go back. Then of course we spend the rest of our lives, once we decide we like it here, wanting to stay here and hanging on in. But blockages, I think what you need to do, my tip to clear any blockages of a spiritual nature is to stop being frightened. Just to think, wow, this is wonderful, wonderful. Sit there quietly and send out your prayers. Lie on me and sit on me. Yes, yes, that's something yes. That's a very common experience actually, and one that I shared myself. What you have to do is just say, get off. You just have to lose the fear and know that you have a spirit helper. You remember I mentioned before that appointed guardian, your guardian angel. Well, you have that. So just send out your thoughts and say, right, I'm not having this. There's something interfering with my well-being. I don't want that. And that's that. So there you are. And I've noticed you have said used to lie on, etc. Well, that's in the past. So just put it in the past. Whatever is in the past, learn to put in the past. Live in the present and trust in the future. So there you are. So I hope that helps. Now, there aren't any more questions. I thought that what I might do is just suggest that you have a look at all these other videos that I've made where I'm answering questions from people who've written them as comments. And oh yes, and I always mention my book. Here we are. Here it is, The Spiritualist Handbook. Oh dear, that's looking a bit bright. Spiritualist Handbook by me. And it's available on Amazon, and it has loads and loads of stuff in it, and it's got 332 pages. Some of those pages are an index at the back that sort of tells you things about, oh look, do you know what, we talk about our spirit helpers, and there's no coincidence in spiritualism. I've opened this. Fiona, I hope you are still watching and haven't been turned off. What do I see? Eagle. There, look, I am not lying to you. I've opened that. And there is proof. Look at that. Eagle. Pages 24 and 72. And then there's a whole load under that of Earth. Underneath that it says Eastbourne. And then ectoplasm. Ectoplasmic, Edinburgh, Egyptians. And electromagnetism. There you are, Elijah comes up there. Well, this is all in the index, but there you are. If you would like me to see what I've written already about eagles, I'll have a look, because it says page 72. 74, 70, 72. I can't see. I won't bore you. It's on the page anyway, which is opposite. Is it all right to disturb the dead? I ask. So there. And the other one was 24, wasn't it? I'll have a quick look at 24 and see if we get anything written there. 24. Oh, of course. I was talking about White Eagle, and White Eagle was the name of the guide of a very old medium, pioneering medium. So there you are, you see. So that there's even eagles in my book. I thought we'll finish today with, oh yes, and they're reminding me as well that there is a website with loads of stuff on, www.lynn-guest-de-swart.com, and then www.newchristianspiritualsociety.com. So if you are interested in this way of life, please do have a look and enjoy all the various articles and features that are there. It's time for our prayer. So I would like to ask you to join me. This prayer is for each one of us. We're always praying for everybody, and we can take that as read. And this is a prayer for you to ask for healing and comfort for yourself. So I'll ask you now to join me. Close your eyes as we say, Dear Lord, thank you so much for your blessings with which we are showered every day and every night. Thank you for looking after me in my times of distress, my times of illness and hardship. Thank you for looking after me, dear Lord. I ask you at this time to send your healing ministers and angels to help me get through this difficult time I am having in this life. I ask you to help all my friends and family that have been so good to me, and I ask you to look after my animals too, dear Lord, because they are so essential and they bring their unconditional love. I ask you, dear Lord, to heal all my aches and pains, to give me comfort in my sorrows, to send my love on wings of gold to my loved ones who are in the world of spirit at this time. And I ask you, dear Lord, to help me live my life in the way that I should, to benefit others, to be as good as I can, to be in the light, and to spread your love wherever I go and in whatever I do. And I ask all this in the dear name of love and light and truth. Amen. Yeah, so I hope that you feel a bit better now. And I will say fare thee well until the next time we meet. And I'm glad to be able to bring a little comfort, I